What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So here's what we're going to discuss today. World leaders are actually extremely worried about our global economy. They're concerned. They don't know how well things are going to look in the near future, in 3 months, in 6 months, in a year, or even further. So I want to address what's going on there. We're also going to talk about major food shortages and supply chain disruptions because of something that I said yesterday. Now, I said something and only a handful of people really picked up on it, but they questioned it. And I said there are countries that are banning exports of certain goods. Now, when I said this, and I've said it multiple times over the past few weeks, when I said this, a handful of people picked up on it and wanted to know what countries, what is being banned. So I'm going to give you a short little list of some of the countries, what they are banning, and why this could potentially hurt us here in the United States. Again, this is extremely concerning, but I want to really touch on what's going on and why we need to be well aware of this. So let's get started. First, all I ask, again, if you enjoy these daily uploads, do me a favor, take 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button, and let's get started. So here's what I can tell you. This week, financial leaders of some of the most powerful countries in the world, they have concluded that there are increased risk of a global economic slowdown. That's not what we want to hear. They said that with all the threats that were caused, or not were, but are being caused by Russia's invasion into Ukraine, for one, this is causing massive energy price increases. They are climbing all over the place. We're also seeing food prices are soaring. This is not something that people are used to seeing, and this is something that is hurting most people, especially Americans. When we go to the store, and the other day I took $20 to the store, just $20. That's all I had. I had it in my car. Decided I was gonna stop in the store and pick up some stuff. Picked up I picked up 4 or 5 things, thinking, okay, $20, more than enough. No, came out $26. I had to put 2 things back just so I could get a few things that I desperately needed, to take home. So it's every single person out there is seeing this increase in food prices. They're soaring. Well, they're also saying that multiple central banks are finding that their only option moving forward to tackle inflation is to almost push their respective nations into a recession. And I've been telling you guys this for the past, I don't know how many months. The likelihood of going into a recession is very high. Some were saying that it's only like 20, 30, 40%, but now some are saying we got 50, 60% chance of going into a recession in the next 2 years. Some are saying there's a very good chance we are in a recession now or will be by the end of 2022. Well, that's troubling because that's like 6.5 months away. Now, many financial leaders expressed their concerns over our supply chain issues. Here's what they were saying. And again, it comes back to what companies are telling us, because just this week we heard from Walmart and Target, and both stated that they are seeing higher costs, but they also have excess inventory that are piling up. Now, these are causing just as bad of an issue as when our supply was limited. Because hear me out. What we are seeing is, let's take Walmart for example, and I told you guys this about a month ago, is I bought some juice from Walmart. Well, this juice, it wasn't expired, but this juice had mold in the top of it. Okay? It was like some, I don't remember the name of the juice, but like it was in a little carton, right? 1-2 liter carton, whatever it was. And I opened up the juice, went to go pour it into a glass, and you could see the mold just pouring out of it. Here's the issue. We are seeing higher costs of goods, right? Because of inflation, everything's more expensive. But at the same time, we got inventory that has been sitting in containers for months. And it's just been sitting there in the heat or in the cold or whatever it is. It hasn't been properly taken care of. So guess what? All these stores have excess inventory that's piling up, and when it finally gets put on the shelf, a lot of it's bad. a lot of the food is bad. Clothing in some cases is actually moldy. It stinks. So the store can't actually sell it. That's a huge issue. So again, higher costs, excess inventory that they cannot sell, it's a huge issue to our economy. Now, this is why I want to touch on something that I said yesterday. Yesterday I mentioned how some countries also place bans on exports. And again, a handful of people caught on to this and they wanted to know which countries have done what. So I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But keep in mind, right now, a lot of people are worried that what we are seeing is there's too much inventory out there, which if a store wants to sell some of this inventory, they have to lower their prices. But by lowering their prices, they actually don't make any money. So sometimes the best option is to actually just get rid of the inventory, right? Here's the problem. If stores don't have products to sell, guess what? They will lay off employees. That is an issue. And again, we saw this with Walmart stores. I remember talking about a Walmart store in Bellevue, Washington, who they actually closed their store. That's an issue. They didn't have any products to sell. People weren't coming in, so they closed. Well, we can see this all over the U.S. That would be a huge issue, right? But let's talk about these bans on certain goods. Okay? If you have questions on any of these as well, please let me know down in the comment section below. But the first one is Russia. Russia is actually the world's largest exporter, and they actually introduced quotas and new taxes on exports before the war even began. Okay, so that was back in 2021. However, since the war began, Russia has also placed a ban on wheat exports. And this move was devastating to many countries who relied heavily on Russian wheat. India, they also made similar moves. India stated that they were banning wheat exports as well in order to preserve some of their goods, but also combat high inflation. And again, this move was difficult for many smaller countries to handle as they were getting their wheat from India and didn't have another option. Here's something that you may not know. And if one country, let's say India bans wheat, Russia bans wheat, and let's say Europe really needs wheat, guess what? The United States, and we do this all the time, they come to the rescue and like, hey, we have excess wheat, let's give you some of ours. And so we go and give them wheat, okay? Now we're doing this with gas right now. But they say, hey, we have some wheat, let us help you, right? Let us help you by, you take some of our wheat, and that way your prices don't increase so much. Well, guess what? As we do this, guess what happens here in the United States? We lose some of our supply, and as supply goes down, but demand is still staying fairly elevated, guess what? Prices go up. So by us giving some of our supply to another country, it hurts our country, hurts our people. Okay? So just keep that in mind. That happens all the time with a bunch of different things. Now, in India, they're known as the biggest exporter in edible oils, and these are things like cooking oils. They have actually banned the export of palm oil. Now, they banned it initially. This ban has been lifted though. However, when this ban was in place, and again, I mentioned this like a month or two ago, how we were seeing shortages in things like Oreos, the cookies, even ice cream. And we were seeing this because that is one of the ingredients in Oreos and cookies, is palm oil. Well, just in 2022, just to give you an idea, palm oil has risen in price by more than 50% just in 2022. And again, this impacted many people, many companies. But as of right now, this ban has been lifted. But some say that if domestic supply does take a downturn, then the ban will be put back into place. So just keep that in mind. We also know Argentina. They have a ban in place on exporting soybean meal and soybean oil. This is actually due to a major drought in the area. And so the issue here is the drought isn't looking like this isn't going to get fixed, okay? This is a major issue. We also know Argentina has banned the export of 7 cuts of beef as well until 2023. And Argentina is the 5th largest beef exporter in the entire world. So again, for those countries that are looking for beef and looking for soybean meal or soybean oil, it's going to be a little bit before they can start getting it. We also know sugar has seen an export ban in many countries. These are countries like Russia, Algeria, Kosovo, and even Ukraine. Now, obviously, this is going to impact many foods that contain sugar. And I think a lot of people kind of misunderstand what some of these updates are meant to do. One of the things that I've been telling you guys is if you're worried, if you don't know if a certain product's going to be on the shelf in a couple weeks or a couple months, maybe consider buying it now. And I say this because we've seen shortages in cereal. Honestly, we have. Because what is in cereal? Well, a lot of cereal is using wheat, right? A lot of cereal has sugar. A lot of cereal is packaged in boxes, right? Which is made of cardboard, which is a lot of times is recycled. You see how it's not just the food, it's the container, it's the shipping, then it's the price. Everything rolled into one is a huge issue. This is what's causing additional supply chain disruptions. Is we have not come back from all the issues we've had in the past 2 years. Things are just compounding, and that's making our supply chain shortages even worse. This is why food shortages are increasing. Again, this is concerning. World leaders are worried about our global economy, and there's good reason why. There's not a lot to be really optimistic about. We're not there yet. And then we got other potential crises on our hands. Again, this isn't good news, but I'm here to give you the facts. I'm here to tell you what's actually going on. Not here to just blow smoke and think, oh, everything's just fine. In some cases, things are going really well. But in most cases, there's more potential issues on the horizon than to really anything to be optimistic about. So, again, just want to fill you in on what's going on as of right now. But as always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. All you got to do is make sure you subscribe to this channel so you never miss an update. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.